Hi, this is Asean now, and you're watching the Weekly Wrap. First up, the Philippines Embassy in Kuala Lumpur was abuzz with activity as Filipinos cast their votes for the country's polls on Monday. About 3,000 Filipinos living in Malaysia voted at the embassy starting April 9th. It was also the first time that an automated voting system was implemented for overseas Filipinos at the embassy. Back in the Philippines, incendiary politician Rodrigo Duterte claimed the presidency with a landslide victory on Monday. While it is not yet official, a rolling ballot count by an election commission-accredited watchdog has the 71-year-old firebrand with an insurmountable lead. Known for profanities and talking tough, the foul-mouthed populist captivated his countrymen with his vows of brutal but quick solutions to crime and poverty. Moving on, 7 Indonesian teenagers were sentenced on Tuesday to 10 years in jail each for the brutal gang rape of a 14-year-old schoolgirl in Sumatra. The case brought the matter of sexual abuse back in the national spotlight, with the Indonesian government promising new regulations with harsher punishments. This includes making the names of sexual abuse convicts public, imposing a maximum sentence of 20 years imprisonment, chemical castration for pedophiles, and tracking chip implants. On a grim note, a man made a grotesque discovery outside his home in Klang, Selangor. He found a dead cat hanging on a lamppost outside his house on Wednesday evening. Resident Wong Che-wei and his wife gave the feline a proper burial before putting the pictures up on Facebook, igniting anger on social media. The stray cat had recently given birth, and his litter is being cared for by a neighbor. Last but not least, here's some wild news from across the Malaysia-Singapore causeway. Singaporean motorists and cyclists have been told to keep a lookout for a pack of otters which have recently taken up residence at a beach park on the southeastern coast of the island. Otter watcher Nick Su shared a video of an otter almost getting hit by a car while crossing the road. Su said the critters make regular crossings to get between the sea and their home at the nearby playground. In relation to that, local authorities will set up signs to alert motorists and cyclists, as well as cameras to protect the otters. We now head over to Bangkok with our Thailand partner, The Nation TV, for the latest roundup from the Northern ASEAN region.
Thank you very much indeed, Kuala Lumpur. Now let's take a look on what was going on over the past week here in the Upper ASEAN region, starting off with Thailand. More than 80% of overseas Filipino workers in Thailand cast their votes for presidential hopeful Rodrigo Duterte at the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok. Duterte supporters, clad in red shirts, came to the embassy to cast their votes on the election day. The 7-term Davao City Mayor has garnered the win of 15.8 million votes on the unofficial vote count, surpassing Benigno Aquino III's 15.2 million votes in 2010. And now moving on to our next story, and this is especially for those who like K-pop star, as K-pop star Song Joong-ki was welcomed very warmly by huge crowds of Thai teenage fans for a fan meeting event in Bangkok since his arrival at the airport on May the 4th, and at a sold-out meet and greet session on May the 9th. The event was attended by tens of thousands of his fans. Still in Thailand, but on to the drought situation, as a Thai veterinarian warns that the latest drought has affected pork meat sold in China, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. He found that pigs being raised in open farms are more prone to distress and sickness due to the heat. Some pigs also have slower growth rates and need to be cared for a longer period for 2 to 4 weeks. Breeders wind up spending more for the animal feeds. He said that pork prices have increased in China, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, but the situation should normalize within 2 to 3 months. And now moving on to Myanmar, as outrage broke among social media users in response to the new U.S. ambassador's use of the word Rohingya in his public speech this week. The Myanmar government has earlier insisted that the Rohingya Muslims living in Rakhine State should be called Bengali, as they are simply immigrants from Bangladesh. The new ambassador, however, restated the U.S. position that communities should be allowed to call themselves as they wish. One comment on the embassy's Facebook page particularly asked the ambassador to show the host country some respect, otherwise return home. In Vietnam, Vietnamese tax authorities are now looking into almost 190 individuals and companies that just had their names released by the Panama Papers. Well, the leak of companies with secret offshore assets became big news for the rest of the world a few weeks ago. Vietnam's own secret is only coming out now. The finance ministry cannot yet say if the mentioned individuals and companies were involved in tax evasion, but investigation will be done. And that's it for this week's episode of ASEAN Wrap from the Upper ASEAN region. This has been Sathapat Pathong, and now back to Kuala Lumpur.
Thank you, Bangkok. Thanks for watching. I'm Daniel Al-Bakri, and have a good weekend.